Hello, welcome everyone in the QRDI application guide. Please note that the content of this presentation is subject to change based on QRDI regulation. In this awareness session, we will be speaking about the pre-award stage, screening stage, and the pre-fund stage. The online registration, when the online registration opened, we will send an email announcement. Then you will have the online submission deadline where you have to submit your proposal by this date. We will have the vetting period, which will end with the RO vetting deadline. QRDI will do the screening, and if you pass the screening, you will go to the reviewing stage by QRDI, and we will be waiting for the award announcement. If you are awarded, you will go through the pre-fund before the activation and starting the post-award stage. Now for the pre-award stage. Now once the call is open, we will send an announcement as you see here in the picture. Now what to focus on in the email. First, the endorsement process, the submission deadline, and the direct link to the call. For the endorsement process, please note that we will only accept the letter if it was sent by the Associate Dean of Research Office or the Center Director Office. So please send your name and the project ID to your Associate Dean Office or the center you are affiliated to. If your name and project ID not in the list, we will not be able to fit your proposal. Now for the submission deadline, please add the dates to your calendar. Please note that there is submission deadline and vetting deadline. It's important that you submit your proposal before the submission deadline. If your proposals appear as in preparation, this means that if the submission deadline passes, you will not be able to proceed. If it's open for modification and the vetting deadline reached, you will not be able to proceed. So please make sure that within any deadline, your proposal should be submitted. Please make sure to submit your proposal at least 2 days before the submission deadline or the vetting deadline to avoid facing any technical issues. Now, you will see the direct link to the call in the email, which will take you to the call page where you can apply. If this is your first time, please make sure to create an account for yourself before applying. Now in the call page, you will notice many documents, but the most important part are the timeline, the download center, and the important links. Now for the timeline, please note that after the submission deadline, we will start the vetting process. The vetting process will go through rounds. The period of each round depends on the period of the vetting deadline. So for example, let's say we have 1 week for vetting. So first round usually will be around 48 hours. If you have further comments that need to be addressed, we will send the proposal to you back, this will be around 2. And we'll go on until your proposal is ready. Please make sure that we start vetting the final vetting 2 days before the deadline, as we have to do each proposal individually, and the last 2 days we can face technical issues and slowing down for the portal. Now for the download center, in the download center, please make sure for each call to download from the download center for each call. For example, if you are applying for ARG, go to the ARG page and start downloading the file. Now the most important files you need to download and look at is first the request for application, the research template, and the supporting letter template. Now in general, all of these documents are important, but those 3 are the main one. Now for the important links, you will see important links which is the RDI policy and guidelines, and the document library. Now, for the policy guideline, you will find all policies related to the QRDI programs. Now, for the document library, you can find important documents. For example, the co-funding cost sharing commitment letter template and data management plan template. We will also send an email named cycle guidelines, and it's very important for planning your budget, and it will also contain general guidelines related to budget. Now, for the important templates from the call download center, please make sure to download the research plan, support letter, and the joint funder support letter. For example, now if you have CCEC or food security. Now, for the QRDI document library, you will need a data management plan template and the co-funding cost sharing commitment letter. If you need Arabic version and it's not in the website, we can request an Arabic version from QRDI. So please make sure to request this in advance. Now, for the research plan template, please make sure to follow all the guidelines mentioned in the research plan to avoid not passing the screening. Since we cannot check the font size, the space, and the margin, please make sure to stick to the one in the research plan. And here you can see an example for the research plan template. Please make sure to fill all the mandatory parts, and please make sure to insert the total funding requested identical to the portal. Now, for the support letter template, please use the template as it is and ask the collaborative institution not to change any part. Please make sure not to change the role type mentioned in the support letter, and please make sure that the signature, if it's not hand signature, please make sure that it's a digital, the digital signature is trackable. For the data template plan, please fill all the requirement on the cover page. And since we cannot check the font type, font size, space, and margin, please adhere to the mentioned requirement. And here we want to explain the difference between the co-fund cost share commitment letter versus the joint funder support letter. Now, the co-fund cost share commitment is from a third party, a collaborative institution, while the joint funder support is from the partnership ministry. Now, in here you can see the difference between each template. Now, the co-fund cost sharing commitment letter, as you see here, while the joint funder support letter. And you can see here that there is the one for the Ministry of Municipality when you have a grant like food security call, or the one from the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change if you have a CCEC call. Please make sure that the signature is, it's not by hand, it's from, by trackable electronic signature. Now, for the budget, please make sure to download the budget component guidelines from the portal. You will find other documents in the QRDI policy guidance and the QRDI document library. It's important to follow the following. Now, travel costs and indirect costs shall not exceed the total of 10% of the project annual direct cost. Please note that Qatar University take 10% indirect cost. Miscellaneous costs are not to exceed 5% of the project's total annual direct cost. Note that some grants will have different budgeting, like Europe, CWSP, and HISRP. Please note that the cycle guidelines email contain a very important instruction for QU personnel salaries for postdoc and research assistants. For this year, 2025, we can categorize the budget into three main categories. For the one on the left, the grants mentioned on the left side, you can refer to the budget components, where miscellaneous maximum 5%, travel 10%, and IDC 10%. The one on the right, where there are ineligible budget component, which is travel cost and IDC. Now, for the Europe, travel cost is only for student for conference presentation, and IDC cost is $137 per student. After you submit your proposal, we will be waiting for the screening results. You will either pass screening or not pass screening. You will receive an email from QRDI for the results. If you did not pass screening, you can appeal. Now, if you pass screening, we will be waiting for the award announcement. After the award announcement, the awarded project will appear as award pending. You're either going to have QRDI comments or you will not have any comments. We will send you a pre-funding guideline if you were awarded to be able to see what you should do at that time. Now in here, as you can see, if you had no comment from QRDI, all what you have to do is go into the system and submit again to us. But if you do have comment, you have to make sure to address all comments before the deadline and make sure to submit again to us. If you have any comments in the Ethical Compliance tab under Ethical Compliance Instructions from QRDI, this means that you must change your ethical requirement to yes, based on the comment they provided. Approval are not obtained by the pre-funding deadline, which means you don't have to submit it at that time. You only have to submit a request for the ethical compliance. And then you have to submit to us after you change the requirement to yes. This is a small brief to show you the steps of pre-funding and how you can change the ethical requirements. First, you will have to go to the pre-fund tab. Next, start pre-funding. You check first the supplementary document to update the documents if they ask you to update any documents. Then you go to the ethical compliance section where you can see the comment and you can edit based on their comments. After that, submit changes. If you have any comments, please don't hesitate to contact us. As you can see, here those are our contact information, the pre-award email.